Good afternoon. This is Neo from the group. It's Saturday the 28th, it's about 2 o'clock-ish. I'm up at Tyrebagger, Recumbent Stone Circle, and it's unusually mild and quite good weather, so I thought I'd come up and do a wee live stream. There's a really good mobile mast just there, so I'm getting a fantastic signal. Down at the industrial park just here beside the airport, parked there and walked up to the tracks. A new city bypass is just going past. There's maybe some traffic you can hear, but it's a lovely day. We've only got some sheep as companions today, there's nobody else here. So just having a look around this fantastic circle. I came up here about 2 years ago after seeing Martin Morrison's video on the circle, realised how close it was to the city and came up and had a look, and this was the first recumbent circle I'd came to, and it's a difficult one to top actually, because it's a stunning circle. These flankers, number one stone, it's kind of convention to be numbering this stone. This flanker is number one, recumbent number two, the other flanker number three, and then other standing stones around the circle. So this one we've got to number 11, which is my favourite stone actually, because I'll come to that. But these flankers are impressively dressed, and what I mean by that is not only have they been quarried and brought up here, but they've been, this is you know, right angle type dressing. It's very square. This is very tall. I mean, okay, it looks maybe taller than it is because I'm short. It's a lovely flanker, lovely stone. And this section here is quite interesting. Douglas, who does the fantastic 3D rendering for us, had recently done a 3D rendering of Tyrebagger, and you know, if you were to lift this recumbent stone, which is fallen back about to 45 degrees, if you lift that back up, it would almost fit in like a jigsaw into that hollow there of that flanker. Really impressive flanker, really impressive recumbent. Again, well dressed, fallen back, and we'll go and have a look at the other side shortly. But again, a massive stone, very tall, not so wide as maybe kind of Old Keeg and Cuthimure and such, but quite a tall recumbent stone, maybe to go along with the flankers. Flanker or stone number 3, pointed in shape, quite wide, pointy. So quite a different. You'd maybe be forgiven to say that's a deliberate thing. It must be. It's quite a different shape to the number one stone. Just as wide, just as thick at the base, tapered slightly, but there is definitely a different deliberate shape to this one. So before we look at the other stones, let's have a look at this recumbent then. So let's try and get out the sun. Imagine saying that in Scotland, trying to get out the sun. So when I first came up here, like I say, about 2 years, 18 months ago, you could sit underneath the recumbent. It was supported either end by ground here and ground at the far end, and this face of the recumbent had quite a lot of carbon markings on it, where you'd imagine people would be lighting fires and having bonfires under there, maybe to use it like a kind of fireplace to keep kind of maybe warm if they were up here having a party or such. you know, this place is only maybe kind of 10-15 minutes away from the sort of outskirts of the city. It's quite remote, easy to get to, but you know, you could have a wee kind of summer party here, no bother, and nobody would really know. So from this angle, you can see how the width of the depth of the recumbent stone is a chunky stone, not quite as maybe deep as a lot of the other bigger stones that we've noticed, but it is a considerable recumbent. And of course, what they've done over the last year, I think, is fill this in, because clearly there is a potential risk of the stone, you know, falling and causing injury, I guess. Although you'd maybe wonder how many years it's sat like that. There's one or two kind of stones just to the side, medium, small kind of stones. You kind of maybe think it's a bit like Easter Quartes, where there's a couple of fairly substantial support stones behind the recumbent. But yeah, it's significant. And again, this pointed flanker is quite tall in itself, fairly significant size. So just the recumbent setting for Tyrebagger is impressive. It's impressive on a nice sunny day like today. Just come here for this kind of angle. And then we can start walking around the stones. So it's a complete circle. That's what I'm trying to say. It's interesting that there's this circumference here. It looks like it's kind of built up in a little ridge, and this centre section is hollowed out. But we all know, well, we all kind of know that these look like these smaller stones in the inner circle maybe would have been curb stones to hold in the cairn that we suspect has probably been here. And the reason that most recumbent stone circles and stone circles in general don't have their cairn fully remaining, although there's like Lone-Headed David that still has the base of it, is the stones were just ideal size for building stone walls. So they'd have been reused, recycled, robbed, whatever way you want to look at it. So this would have been a cairn at one point, we suspect, but this is quite sunken. Now, what Great Crowns of Stone mention about Tyrebagger is that there's word or hearsay that flanker or stone 1, which is quite substantial, and stone 11 were used as gate posts. So let's just get back a wee bit here so we can see it. So number 11, number 1 would be used as kind of gate posts, maybe a couple of planks of wood put across, and maybe wood and planks or rope or whatever around the entire circle. And the circle was used as a cattle pen at one point, so you can imagine a lot of trampling, a lot of heavy beasts maybe kind of getting used in this particular area. It might have been only for a few months, it might have been for a couple of years, it might have been for a couple of decades, no idea, but that maybe explains the sunken area in the middle. So what have we got then? We've got 1, 2, 3, this is number 4, substantial stone number 4. Until we get round to the other side of the circle, this is quite a substantial one. Again, pretty well dressed. Although there's the grain of the stone coming down, there is a good evidence of a right angles being carved out here. Again, pretty tall, substantial stone. This one, quite impressive, really. Little tiny hints of quartz maybe running through it. That's a pretty good common thing with recumbent stone circles, is the quartz seams. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 from them. This is number 5 we're looking at. So this is some 5'4", so it's about 5'3", 5'4", this one, a wee bit kind of pointy. Kind of squat stone. Again though, quite substantial at the base. Number 6 is quite an unusual one. I mean, I think, again, thanks to John for the looking after us in the group, by the way. I mean, I think it's above 400 followers, which is fantastic really for this group. So all credit to John for giving us guidance and the benefit of his knowledge. Looking forward to getting his book. It comes out in paperback soon. So this is, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stone 6 we're at, an unusual stone. And again, you know, there's quite a lot of evidence about particular stones, particular granite and particular shapes being used in the orientation of the stones. So number 7, really spoiled with this circle with the number of stones we've got, and how complete they are. Maybe some evidence of scoring or weathering there on this one. Again, a chunky stone, not a medium stone, maybe just getting on to kind of slightly more than medium, but again a good chunky stone. So that's 7, 8. Getting to a kind of gradient there. This 6, 7 and 8 are pretty much of a muchness in size. Chunky at the base, being tapered. Again, could have been damaged, could have been anything really. After being round all the circles, unfortunately we have the last 300 years, there's some companions there, sheep, last 300 years that most of our circles have been destroyed, unfortunately, due to industrial farming. Want to get a wee bit more land. This is just while we're halfway around. This is an interesting circle. It borders 2 fields. There's the fields here with the sheep, and there's that bridge. That bridge is interesting. That goes over the new city bypass, and it's a nature bridge. You can maybe just see from where my finger is, as it runs across, there's trees and grass and shrubs planted right across, and that's for local wildlife to cross the bridge safely, cross the road safely rather. I mean, using the bridge to cross the road. So you can get here by, as I did, the industrial park, wandering up through the forest tracks, or you can park in Tyrebagger car park and walk through the woods. Either way, it's a bit of a walk. But the circle is on the boundary of this field and this field down here. I don't know if that's a big contributing factor, but it means that as the fields have been getting ploughed and used, as in most of the evidence we've seen, this field level naturally lowers and that field level naturally lowers, and what's left is a kind of plinth. And as the years have been going along, what they've done is they put a retaining wall along so that the spoils don't fall down into the field and the stones don't fall down into the field. So there's a few circles like this that have got this retaining wall right along, and that's just really because the usage of the fields lowered or redistributed the level here. So what we've got is, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, on number 9. It's an interesting stone, number 9. Kind of pointy again. We're getting a little bit bigger. They're starting to get a little bit taller, and again well dressed. Maybe more than a 90 degree there, but undoubtedly dressed. Undoubtedly not just quarried, but shaped deliberately, as well as then socketed in a particular area. Number 10, getting bigger again now. This is a chunky stone. Number 10, not just taller but wider. pointy. Again, hard to tell really if that's the original. You could kind of say that, well, it's quite clear there is the original corner that would have come up, and this stone would have been probably as square as you can get, and it looks like that's been broken off and a whole chunk's fallen away, I would suggest. But that bottom section makes it fairly clear that the original stone was far more complete, far more square. Number 11, my favourite stone. I'm always worried about number 11. It always looks like it's about to fall. But all the pictures and the sketches I've seen of this stone have suggested it's never moved. It just looks precarious. It just looks at that funny angle. You think maybe you should do something about it, maybe support it or something, but I think it's been like that for as long as anybody can remember. Again, it's a wide stone, probably been broken at the top there. Could it have been as big as number 1? But it's certainly been, if we just said that top bit was the top edge, it certainly could have been a little bit bigger. It might have been a lot bigger. You just don't know. And you don't know if it's maybe in the past it's been a little bit, it's maybe been re-erected. It's difficult to sometimes get a record of any stones that have been re-erected unless you're able to, you know, the Ordnance Survey surveyors back in 1790 would have been, you know, mapping out, and they would have been essentially having discussions with local farmers and local farm owners, and it's not until these discussions are recorded that you maybe get, well, you know, that stone's been re-erected or it's not. So it's difficult to tell what damage was done when. But yeah, so that's a wee look around Tyrebagger. Lovely day, about 6 degrees in Aberdeen. You can see off into the distance there, there's the airport, there's the city, there's the offshore wind farms just over there. So we are very close. This is about the closest circle there is to the city, I think, apart from maybe the one just south of the city and the woods there. But it's a very complete circle. All the time I've been here, I've never met anybody else. It's always just been me. Maybe I've just been lucky with timings. But it's a fantastic circle. It's up there with maybe not quite as grandiose as Easter Quarties, but it's almost as complete. And I think we're lucky to still have this circle, to be honest. Most farmers, I think, would have easily have destroyed it just to get an extra bit of land 200 or 300 years ago, but they're protected now. So yeah, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed this wee live broadcast from Tyrebagger, and hopefully bring you some more depending on weather and mobile phone signal. But there we go, thanks very much.